Hey Pisces, welcome to eclipse season. The illusions you've swam in will only make you drown, and the waters will leave you naked, lucid, and awake to your own hidden depths, carrying a vision no one else could ever see. Pisces, on September 1st, Saturn is leaving Aries in your second house and retrograding back into your first house of Pisces. Saturn is teaching you a very hard lesson, and it's coming back to teach you it again, that the whatever you have to grow up, and this is growing up into your own maturity of the self mastery, having this disciplined presence about yourself. You are learning boundaries, and Saturn here is teaching you how to separate yourself from the emotions and expectations of others. It's trying to ground your sensitivity, and it's trying to really solidify this, bringing confidence, even if you have to build it slowly. It's taking responsibility for your own path. This is healing the self image. This is really balancing compassion with your sense of authority. And you have been going through this lesson for the past 3 years, and it's just retrograding back because these are things that you're meant to embody without losing self-respect, without becoming someone who others want you to be. Like, Saturn is not going to have you having self-doubt within yourself. It really wants you to separate your vulnerability and your exposure, or your need, or Pisces is a very exposing energy. Even though it's the end, it's what's hidden. It absorbs other people's energy, and this is the lesson of treating yourself as sensitivity is your strength. It's one of it's one of your strengths, actually. And you can feel like you must protect, or you must be guided with discipline in order to protect yourself. Feelings of self-doubt and shyness and feeling invisible can definitely arise, but Saturn here is really teaching you patience. But anyways, yeah, I go more in depth with my Saturn entering into, or re-entering, retrograding back into Pisces for the last time. This is a 29-year cycle that Saturn is trying to really come around and make values and make you really take yourself seriously, Pisces. So this is a huge one. So definitely go ahead and watch that video. Anyways, Saturn retrograding at the 0 degree in Aries in your second house. He brings focus to your values, your income, your personal structures. And this is a moment where you're reassessing your value system, what truly matters to you, what you're willing to invest your time and energy and money into. This is all depending how you feel about yourself. This is why Saturn is going back into your first house, rearranging that so you can really further develop, in some type of way, Pisces. These lessons will solidify, your investments, your personal assets, your sense of self, your evolution here. These, even when you are feeling like you're meeting these limitations, because that's what Saturn brings, you have to rethink, you have to restructure and evaluate, like, your confidence, or reevaluate like your value systems or your investments, what you're actually putting your time and energy into. What are you soaking up? Who are you letting just come in and dirty up your waters? That's going to be a huge one, huge lessons for you, Pisces, especially with the solar eclipse coming up for you as well. But anyways, September 2nd, Mercury is going to enter into Virgo in your natal seventh house. So this brings a focus. Mercury is naturally ruling over your seventh house as well. So, um, detailed thinking, right? This is strategic planning when it comes to cooperating with others and interactions and one-on-one relationships and marriages. And this is a house of other people. So this is a house that, you're really clarifying these obligations, you're reviewing contracts, you're analyzing, dynamics, the dynamicship of partnership, and discussions even about shared responsibilities or about long-term agreements. This is communication that can be very precise, very solution oriented, and even when it comes to like legal matters or negotiations, Mercury can come in and provide this insight or even try to resolve these issues. So this can happen, in your professional or personal relationships, depending on who the other is in quotation. So this is Mercury trying to create structures that enhance your fairness and also mutual benefit. On September 6th, 2025. 2025, that's so funny. But anyways, can you even imagine saying it's 2036? Like, that's just funny. But Uranus is going to retrograde in Gemini in your natal fourth house of home, family, security. And here you are reviewing these sudden changes that have to do with your domestic life, even disruptions at some point. Of course, when Uranus is in the fourth house, you could be moving a lot through these 6 to 7 years. You can be revisiting past decisions about your living arrangement, your family obligations, or even your personal space, and any type of instability. That you experience over the next 7 years, it can be more clear. This can what I mean by clear, I mean like you really take action on it, you really go somewhere, you really move, you really try to figure out what you need to have a better emotional foundation, what you need to connect with other people, and you could reorganize your home environment. You make adjustments when it comes to your living situation. You could re-examine or reevaluate the connection that you even have to family, that you have to your ancestry. Like, a lot of gifts get awakened within the mental mind, like psychic abilities, things that have to do with your hand. Make sure you do like mantras and things of that nature. But this is a time where it can feel very unpredictable. But this, retrograde really encourages you to carefully start planning rather than just impulsive action. You can integrate lessons from like the disruptions that you've had with your family in order to like create a more secure and adaptable domestic foundation moving forward. Meaning, like, if your family likes to argue a lot, they like to gossip a lot, you can't live with them. Don't try to go back and yeah, we're gonna do this again and live with them and have the same discussions. You've learned, your mind has expanded, and that doesn't always mean that their mind has expanded as well, right? So on September 7th, this is the big day, right? This is the big day for us Pisces, because we're having a full moon lunar eclipse, a blood moon. Like, you see that moon that I put right there with the blood dripping from it? Like, that is our blood, Pisces. We're sacrificing the blood and the juices within our bodies. Anyways, this is going to happen at the 15th degree in our natal first house. And we know that Saturn is going to be in our natal first house, and also the North Node is in our natal first house. Don't forget to watch the video that I made with Divine Feminine Works. Mel, we talk a lot about this. Like, I really put my heart and soul into my description of Pisces rising, just from personal experiences, But anyways, the full moon lunar eclipse in your natal first house, Pisces, of self, of your evolution, of your personal expression, this is triggering endings, and these can be very visible to you. This is combinations in your life, projects, habits, people, routines that no longer align with your evolving self. They can reach a point of closure. You can experience changes in appearance in your public image, in the way you assert yourself, your daily activity, even friendships. This is an eclipse that often brings, well, I'm not going to say often, right? Because this eclipse only happened in your sign on the nodes. So this is a time that's really powerful, and I believe that it's about 19 years until Pisces goes, the North Node goes back into Pisces. So that's a long period of time, but now this is bringing the opportunities for personal goals, redefining your personal goals, reaching personal goals, establishing new routines, taking these bold steps that really showcase your individuality. Over the next couple of months, these are even the effects of the eclipse. This is going to unfold this new version of yourself. You have visible progress. You are altering your public like perception, or you're just initiating new ways of being yourself. And you're just finally, like I said in the other video, becoming your godlike self. You have to activate your godlike body, and you have to really start providing changes to yourself to align to your authentic self. And only you can do that, Pisces. So I hope that makes sense, right? Definitely go ahead and watch that video, because that's more of like, my heart is in that. On September 13th, the sun is going to be conjunct Mercury in a Virgo in your seventh house of partnerships and communication, planning, information exchange with partners are really emphasized. This is making time for clarifying agreements, redefining shared roles, even when it comes to contracts and things of that nature. Something can begin and something can end. We know that K2 is also in the seventh house, and that this is very karmic in some type of way. It may feel like you have done these things before, like you have to really strategically plan. Things can feel, even when it comes to things feeling familiar, sometimes it isn't right. And so you have to really ensure that your responsibilities, your roles and expectations are clear. And this conjunction can also show these like new negotiations, new proposals, whether it's in personal relationships, whether it's in business. But it's trying to make room for what can significantly influence your stability, your productivity, and even when it comes to aligning yourself to real partnerships or partnerships that help you thrive and flourish. On September 18th, Mercury is going to enter into Libra in your eighth house. And so this is the house of transformative processing or investments and intimacy and sex. And this is going to really intensify the your financial collaborations with the next person, the way that you excuse me, the way that you resource, and the way that you have like sources with the next person, and the way that you manage them, like joint collaborations, joint and shared finances and resources. It's a time where you can receive loans. You can, think about your, what do you call it, like your inheritance. This is like you developing precise strategies to handle shared obligations. So this is also a time for you to be careful. Not for you to be careful, but for you to carefully research your entanglements, almost like investigate, your financial matters, or, legal matters, if that if that applies to you. This is a lot of analytical thinking, that is being gained now, and that allows you to really make informed decisions regarding, joint ventures, investments, or obligations that have to do with the next person. This is also your psychological mind. So there's a lot of planning. There could be documents, there can be communications regarding shared resources. This is now favored at this time, because Mercury is trying to create structures that support your stability and even your efficiency over the next couple of months when it comes to, sharing with the next person, or even your approach to personal power. So on September 19th, Venus is going to enter into Virgo in your seventh house. So, of course, Venus is trying to bring this harmonious flow and this balance and even this collaboration within partnerships. However, these it has to be some sort of balance, some sort of ally that we're working with. This is solutions that can be easier to achieve, to negotiate. It's really smooth. Or it can be interactions with partners that feel more pleasant, and relationships that are previously strained can have a experience where now it feels mutually beneficial. You can make adjustments in that manner, and there could be collaborations in business and personal gain, but Venus also wants to promote this attraction to allies, to these meaningful like agreements, that can be formed now that Venus is in your natal seventh house. And this is both beneficial to you when it comes to material and your personal or professional ways that that you're interacting with. The seventh house, as I said, is always other people. So it can be anyone. It can be exes. It can be the marriage partnership. It can be, you know, it's just the other people who mirror back to you. And so the September 21st solar eclipse in Virgo at the 29th degree in the seventh house. I mean, Pisces, this is a time that truly you are being signaled to to look at your one-on-one relationships. K2 is in this house as well. You have the potential for major shifts. There's a potential for major shifts in partnerships, collaborations, and agreements. This is a pivotal period for you, Pisces, to form new contracts, to enter into, significant collaborations. This can be a marriage. This can be a divorce. This can be something where you're just separating from the next person. And ultimately, it feels like you are separating from a piece of you, but it's like you're separating from the critical and the nitpicking and all of the things that Virgo can bring, and just feeling like you always have to sacrifice yourself in relationships. So this eclipse can also bring a close to old chapters, right, in relationships that no longer is serving you, your mental growth, your mutual growth either. And even when it comes to like agreements, or things that you have, let's just say like bringing results to you. That's the best way that I can describe it. Let's say you had a conversation with your partner about, hey, what we're gonna do. You finally see, is it going to happen over the next 6 months? And this can be improved, collaboration. This can be better mutual understanding. This can be strategic, alignment when it comes to joint, like when you want mutual, growth or things of that nature. Planning and definitely intentional setting during this period can have long-term consequences for you, Pisces. So on September 22nd, Mars is going to enter into Scorpio in your natal ninth house. And Mars in Scorpio, this is a house of expansion, philosophy, travel, higher learning, and this is driving you to areas that can expand your knowledge and perspective. And you may pursue advanced studies. You can pursue these, how do you say that, like when you get certificates for things. And even when it comes to researching, projects, or when it comes to solidifying what you believe about this world, Pisces, travel, there can be relocation during this time. Mars is trying to support this bold initiative that really pushes boundaries, including ventures into international, or people from different backgrounds, like collaborations with them, really being interested in culture, interested in educational programs, or even your spiritual growth, the path that it takes to get to our spiritual growth, different experiences that we may have. And this energy is really gonna favor this assertive action that has to do with structured, planning, and even opportunities for growth when it comes to like your long-term vision, or like I said, your philosophy, what you think about the world. This can definitely grow, have opportunities to really grow your mind, Pisces. And so on September 22nd as well, the sun is going to enter into Libra in your 8th house. And sun in the 8th house, let's just say that you can review these financial obligations, that are involving others, that involve the father, that involve your children, but let's just say the son, your son, son, and even redefining like these ventures that have to do with finances, inheritances, monies. Let's just shared monies with the next person. You're very strategic when it comes to focus, when it comes to power dynamics, when it comes to, it's like you're having this is a period for this deep, strategic insight into like systematic processing. And this can affect your personal and professional life as well, Pisces. This is in alignment that encourages you to take leadership in handling joint resources, and like this time for you to like oversee these major commitments, or implement this structural change that can strengthen your collaborations and transform, certain areas of your life, or could pull you into transforming your life, your finances, even your mind. Secrets can come to light where you're able to really see things from both sides and make decisions for your financial future and the next person's financial future. The sun in the eighth house can bring these really transformative times in our life, that we have to be more structured. We have to really think about, like our shared resources and investments, and even certain debts that we have to pay back, or this is the house have to do with like paying like the government and things of that nature. And though I don't believe in anything like that, this is really a time for you to just assert action based thinking and planning, but really start thinking about the systematic processing that you have when it comes to your finances. And if you can increase them, and I think that it being in Libra, you can, because you're willing to work and harmonize with the next person to make decisions, to bring better order, to bring truth and justice into what's being planned out for the future. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I have for you, Pisces. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye, Pisces.